my friend, I want to ask you, have you been listening to some of my podcasts for a while and identified for yourself all the areas that you feel your business could be better in? Maybe you just are so busy you haven't yet mastered the working as much as you like bit. Or maybe you're just not bringing in the money, like you're struggling with the income, or it's just not enough. Well, it's time for us to have a conversation. In the show notes, there is a link to my evolution call. If you're a dance boss and you are ready to take action, let's have a chat and let's see where I can take you. Hello and welcome, lovelies, to the Ultimate Dance Business Podcast. My name is Deborah Laws, the dance business expert. My passion is to help you turn your passion into profit while guiding you to work less and earn more. I'm super excited to share interviews with you that I know will inspire and motivate you in your schools, as well as my solo shows where I shall be sharing some great tips and strategies. So if you love the show, please do remember to review, subscribe, and share it with your fellow dance boss friends. So let's get stuck into the business of dance. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me for today's wonderful new release and podcast. I have the gorgeous Sally Prendergast with me all the way from Australia. Sally, hi.
Hi, how you going?
Really good, thank you. And it's so lovely to have you with me because we've actually kind of been in each other's worlds for a few months now. And in fact, you very kindly, a while back, agreed to come into my members group and become our in the background social media strategist and expert, so that if anyone has questions around social media, they can just kind of pop a little question and I kind of tag Sally and she's there, she shows up every time, gives some great answers. So you're kind of in my community, but I've not really shared you with my wider audience until today. So thank you for coming. And I've already just alluded to the fact that you're a social media strategist.
Yes.
My first question really is always to ask you, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah. So my name's Sally and I own a business called Dance Studio Marketing. And in that business, we help dance studios and performing arts businesses with paid ads, social media and marketing strategy. And really to do the things that all dance studios want to do, which is get more students and grow their business.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been doing it full time for about 5 years now. Prior to that, I was a dance studio owner myself. So I know the industry quite well. And then when COVID arrived, I had an opportunity to kind of pivot outside of the studio owner world. And my biggest passion within my business, which I know is not necessarily normal for most studio owners, but I loved the marketing side. So when COVID came around, I actually closed my studio and moved into marketing full time.
Right. And it's a very similar story really to mine. I mean, I was still running dance studios, at the start of COVID and was also just starting to go down the route of business coaching after a journey I'd been on. And it's fascinating, isn't it? Talking about 2020, how it was quite pivotal for many people. It was really a chance to kind of go like, what do I really want in life? Like, what do I really want to be doing going forwards? So when you kind of found yourself thinking, maybe I'll kind of reinvent myself, maybe I'll do something different. Like, how did you find that process?
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? And I'd done it previously as a studio owner. So I'd owned a number of studios, and I feel like the last studio I had was probably my favorite because I had reinvented the way I ran studios in a way that aligned with what I love and what I valued. And it had made such a big difference. So I always start there when I'm looking at kind of a trajectory change or a pivot of any kind. I'm like, well, what resonates with me? What am I passionate about? What do I value? And then I went from there. And I mean, that along with what am I good at, which is also always really helpful, right? So I was getting friends coming to me with for advice about how to use social media and how to use paid ads, because that's pretty much how I was marketing my dance studio at that point. All social media and paid ads. And it was the only thing we were using and it was working really well. So I had friends, not just studio owner friends, but friends in all sorts of businesses coming to me for help and advice. And so it was just kind of a natural progression, but also something I love doing. I'm a bit nerdy about it, so I kind of fell into it quite nicely.
Yeah, yeah. And it is very parallel to kind of how things happened for me. It was very organic, but I say organic, but I think it was kind of always meant to be this way as well. Like I kind of knew that this was something that I was probably going to do even before it became a thing in my head. Like, so, I
Yeah.
mean, it's interesting that you love the marketing side of things. As you mentioned, a lot of dance school owners, that's not why they set up their business. And, I have a stat that I put out, which somebody shared with me, which is most small business owners are spending 70% of their week on marketing and sales and 30% delivering the product or the service that they provide. And then I say, so, dance studio owner, how much time are you spending on your marketing? And people just look at me like, uh, like probably not even 10% most weeks, like maybe 10% every now and then when I'm really struggling. And so, one of the things I'm very passionate about, and I think that's why this is going to be a superb podcast, we've got two very passionate people, is you don't have a business if people don't know you exist. If you can't be out there and be visible in whatever format, and obviously we're talking social media format today, then you're just somebody in a lovely studio behind a locked door that like a hidden secret. And so obviously, getting really good at marketing sales is huge, isn't it, Sally?
Oh, it's massive. And sometimes I think studio owners, they're such passionate people about the things that they love and they value, which is often what's happening in the classroom and what's happening with their students. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're a studio owner, you're also a business owner. And so marketing and sales, like you said, massive part of making that business successful and getting the longevity out of it to make sure that you can live your passion for a long time. And I think also sometimes we forget marketing isn't one thing, it's not two things. A really good marketing ecosystem is all the things. It's, are you getting reviews? Are you showing up with search on all your digital platforms? Are you advertising? Is your website working for you properly? Is your social media set up correctly? Like there are so many different elements, but the really nice thing is they actually all work together and they all boost each other.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
understanding that marketing is not one thing, it's a group of things is
Yes.
actually really important to getting it to work for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I call this rainbow marketing because it's like a rainbow cake. You know those cakes you cut into and
Yeah.
colors? Like marketing should be layer upon layer upon layer of lots of different types of things. So I've made up my own term. I now call it rainbow marketing because it just, like you say, it has to be more than just one thing.
Yeah.
But it's often a real surprise to dance studio owners when I say, look, an absolute bare minimum is 3 to 4 hours a week of just marketing. And people look at me and say, where am I going to find 3 to 4 hours a week to do marketing? And it's really interesting what you just said about we kind of want to spend the time working on things for our students because we're givers. And when we
Yeah.
start to do marketing, it feels like we're putting ourselves in the energy of being a taker. And
Mm.
therefore, we don't like, well, first of all, most people don't like putting themselves out there full stop. Secondly, they don't like it to come across as, oh, I'm just being salesy and I'm just all in it for me. Like, of course, you're in it for you. It's a business. And if it's not successful and thriving, you don't get to touch all those beautiful lives. Like, I see it as
Yep.
a duty. It's like
Yep.
you've got this beautiful skill, this talent that you've been gifted with, this hard work you've spent all your life, and now you can give it to others in the form of your classes and your services. Um, it's your duty to make sure that as many people as possible know about you so they can come and experience what dance can do. And
Yeah.
therefore, you have to get good at the marketing piece. Think of it from that point of view, with that kind of vibration, rather than I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah. And there's two things I want to say there is one, give yourself permission to do it for yourself because it's actually fine to have a successful business that provides you a good financial return. There's nothing wrong with that. And I would love studio owners to get out of the mindset of, I'm a bad person if I want to earn money. In any other business, in any other profession, people want a higher return, right? That's baseline. And so that's fine. The second thing I'd love to say is instead of, because we get caught up in this thing of being salesy and being pushy. And like you said, if we reframed it as we're giving people an opportunity, and we know how beautiful the arts can be for children, for adults. We know the opportunity it provides when people dance. So what we're doing is we're giving more people the opportunity to do that. And if we just kind of reframe it a bit, I think that gives us permission then to start talking about it more and to be really comfortable with the marketing and the sales of our business.
Yeah, absolutely. And a coach said to me once, I can't remember exactly the phrase that he used, but it was something along the lines of, when you work, when your passion really starts to affect others, like when you're doing something good with your passion, the money is just the result. So just get better at doing good for more people, and the money just flows organically back to you. So you don't have to do it thinking about, oh gosh, I'm doing this trying to earn more money. And I think that just potentially might help some people reframe how they feel about the marketing aspect. But let's focus then on the social media. We mentioned that it isn't just social media, but let's kind of focus in on that because that's kind of where you said in your own term, you're really nerdy. And I know you're really nerdy because I've worked with you, Sally, and I know that you're all over the stats and the data and everything else, which is great because I don't want to be. Like, I don't want to spend my time working that stuff out. So thank goodness we have people like you. But I'd love to talk about how marketing has changed. So when you started 5 years ago, obviously you work with the beast that is Meta, and Meta changes on a daily basis. Like, literally. I mean, I say to all my clients, look, I can teach you some strategies around social media, but when it comes to the paid ads and the back end and the business suite, I am not even going to try because I'm not spending all day, every day in there learning and keeping on top of it. So you need to go to someone like Sally who can be that expert nerd for you so that you don't make mistakes because we can waste a lot of money making mistakes inside a Meta. So since you started to now, there's obviously been some quite frequent and big changes. Is there anything that you feel is like the biggest change that's happened since you started doing this?
Yeah, so it depends on whether we're talking about organic social media, which is anything you're posting that you're not putting money behind, or paid ads. And there's been big changes in both. But at the moment, the biggest changes we're seeing is in paid ads. And particularly in the last few years, the way that we use targeting in paid ads. So previously, we could get quite specific with targeting, even in terms of how much a person earned, what they were interested in, whether they were a parent of a certain age group. Like we could really dial in on our targeting. That's now going away completely. So you can still pick certain interests. So you could pick like parenting or childcare, but the Meta Ads Manager only takes that as a suggestion now. So targeting is pretty much completely changed. And what's rolling out at the moment, and it's due to finish by the end of June, is all ad accounts will now have automatic AI targeting on all ad accounts. And so your targeting really comes down to two big things. Location, although from what we're hearing, that may become a suggestion only as well. But it's really in your creative, so that the artwork, the images and the videos you use, and your messaging, so the words that you're using. And those are the big things now that we're using to target the right people. So, and it's a big shift for people. And again, dance studio owners are very creative, visual people. But the big shift in mindset, and like 50% of business is mindset, right? So I'm always talking about it. But the big shift in mindset at the moment that I'm working with a lot of studio owners on is what appeals to you visually as a studio owner is probably completely different to what appeals to a potential customer.
Ah,
And
yes.
so testing artwork, multiple pieces of artwork, and some that you might look at and go, this is not us at all. I can't put this out there. But if that one piece of artwork that you don't resonate with gets you 10 more students, you need to test it. So that's the big shift at the moment is
Yeah.
visual volume, like creative volume, and testing all sorts, cartoons, animations, candid photos, professional photos, stock images, the lot. We're just testing everything because also what works with one studio may be completely different to the studio down the road. So yeah, that's the big shift at the moment.
That's so interesting. And it just goes to show how long it's been since I did my own ads, because I thought we were still typing in people that like Peppa Pig and people that.
No.
So that's all changed. So that's amazing. So thank goodness I'm not running my own ads anymore. And that's very interesting how AI is now picking up on what you're marketing to find the right people, which I think is
Yeah.
better, actually, potentially.
Yeah.
But in terms of, so I've got some really juicy questions. So I'm always teaching as a business coach that we should do our marketing to attract the right people that are the right fit for us. So it's really important that our marketing and our messaging is a reflection of our values and what type of client we're wanting to attract.
Mm-hmm.
But if what you're saying to me, and I do understand what you're saying, is so I've got a dance school where I love my kids to be immaculately groomed. So in my world, I want to put out a picture of gorgeous students about to go into an exam, looking immaculate and professional. But actually, that might be putting off some parents because they look at that image and think, I can't see my child fitting in with there. Like that, like she doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
So how do we, is there now going to be a disconnect between what we need to put out for parents to engage and what we feel are our values?
Yeah, so yes and no. In terms of images, what we want is enough options that it resonates with a lot of different people.
Okay.
But in terms of your messaging, that's where your values are really going to come into play. So I often say, for example, if you're doing an ad for a trial where you're just trying to get people in the door, if what you have is a dance studio that's really about it's exam focused and you're looking at elite students and advanced dancers, then that will be part of your messaging, right? That will be part of, we have a 100% pass rate, so you know that your child will succeed. So it's that kind of messaging. And the other thing with messaging is always remembering to put in there what's in it for me. So when a person reads it, if you put, we have a 100% pass rate in our exams, that means nothing to a parent. But if you have, we have a 100% pass rate in our exams, so you know your child will succeed, then A, you're telling them what's in it for them. B, you're targeting people who it is important to them that their children succeed. So that's where you start to target the right people for your business. And then it's also when you're talking about your exams, they know that your students are getting measured and that they're elevated in their dance education. So that's where your values are really going to come into play as a dance studio. It's in your messaging and in the copywriting. So yeah, I mean, there are two really big elements there, the copywriting and the visual. And that's the thing that we're focusing on more now than ever.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And it's so fascinating because the one thing that I think people do find a bit scary is that they can so easily just get something slightly wrong and then their ads just don't work for them. It can be a
Yeah.
word, it can just be a sentence that was missing, or a sentence that's put people off, or the fact that the child was looking away from the camera instead of making contact with the camera. Like, it's so bizarre that such small, tiny things can make such a difference on the performance. So that's why we do this thing that you call testing, isn't it? Tell us about what
Yes.
testing is.
So in Ads Manager, there are kind of three levels to the way you structure an ad. You have your campaign, which is essentially what do you want? Do you want leads? Do you want sales? Do you want traffic? And usually for dance studios, I only ever use a lead ad or a sales ad because generally for dance studios, we either want more contacts or more purchases. And then the next level down, which we call the ad set, that tells us who's going to see the ad. So within what sort of location, how much are we spending, and for what period of time are we running the ad. Then at the ad level, that's where we set up multiple ads. So we might have £10 a day, and then we might have 8 images and 2 videos set up as 10 different ads. And that's where the testing happens. Because you set up your budget at the ad set level, it will spread out the money across those 10 ads. And the very nice thing that Meta AI does is whichever one people are stopping on the most and clicking on the most, it will move the budget to that ad.
Ah,
And
cool.
that's why the testing is so important, because Meta actually figures out for you which one is performing best and moves the budget to that ad. So that's the testing process, is that yes, you have to create lots of variations, but thankfully Meta then does all the really hard work for us, which is great.
So I thought I would just share with you guys today the planners that I have produced for dance school owners, because these are flying out of Amazon like hotcakes. And if you don't have yours yet, then all you have to do is pop to Amazon and type into the search Deborah Laws, and all 3 books will come up. So the ultimate dance business planner I designed for you so that you had a little bit of a Deborah on your desktop. The planners are full of business training, tips, motivational quotes, things to do at the start of the month, things to do at the end of the month, ways in which you can plan out your marketing and your retention, and they are selling all over the world. So go to Amazon, grab your #1 best-selling Ultimate Dance Business Planner and enjoy mapping out the growth for your studio. Yeah, because it didn't used to. You used to have to go in and change the ad over and tweak it and move the money from, so that's kind of quite cool, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. And I love, like, there are some ways where AI is working really well for us. That's one. And there's other ways where AI is kind of working against us. And one of my pet peeves at the moment, and I can spot it a mile away, is where someone's written their ad copy in ChatGPT and pasted it directly into their ad with no other edits. Please don't do that if you're doing that. One of the most important things I say is start there. I'm all for ChatGPT or AI copywriting tools to help you to get started, and then objectively look at it and read it. And also read it out loud is my biggest tip for your copy. If it doesn't sound natural when you read it out loud, change it. Like, that's the #1 thing. And then my #2 tip for your ad copy is always start with the offer. What are you offering people? Put that first, because you want to hook people in straight away so that they read the rest of it.
Yummy. I mean, this is all great stuff. I mean, my members are super lucky because just next week you're coming in to do a full training on this. And also you're flying all the way to the UK to attend my dance business conference, and you're going to be speaking on my stage and exhibiting. So anyone that's in my world that's coming to that event or is in my membership is going to get lots of this great stuff from you really soon. But I mean, we could talk all day, couldn't we? Like, this is I say to people, I feel like you could do a degree in Facebook marketing. Like, it's just so intensive. Hence why it's easier to get somebody else to do it so that we don't have to spend hours or waste money trying to do it ourselves. So if you were to work with a studio owner, what does that process look like? Like, what is it that you do for them? And for those people that are kind of interested, what sort of budget would they need to put behind something for your services as well as the Meta fees in order to get something back? Like, this is, I know you can't give me a direct answer because it changes for everyone, but what does it roughly look like for people?
Yeah, so I love this question because I think sometimes and again, it's a mindset shift, right? Is sometimes we think that paid ads is all about a certain amount of dollars in, certain amount of dollars out. And that's the main objective. Whereas for me, the #1 objective is data. So no matter what you do and no matter what you get out of it in terms of money, what you will always get out of it is information. And so sometimes I see dance studios running an ad campaign and they will hire me to run a new one. And the first thing I do is I'll go through their ads manager account and see what they've done before. And I can get very good information very quickly from the data. So I can see if they've done, for example, an ad campaign for a paid trial, and I check the numbers and I can see they didn't get many registrations and the images didn't resonate and the copy wasn't quite right. So straight away I can see, well, there's a number of issues there that we can address straight away. And so the #1 thing that I want everyone to kind of think about when they're investing in paid ads is the data will give you so much information. It will tell you if the offer resonates with your audience. It will tell you if your images resonate with your audience. It will tell you if your copywriting is resonating with your audience. And then the other thing that you just have to keep in mind is what kind of campaign it is. So you'll always get better bang for buck for a free offer. Any paid offer will always cost you more per result. So, and then the second layer of that is, if it costs you £30 to get a new student in the door, think about the return, the real return of that student. If they stayed for you for 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years, what's the real return on that investment, right? So while I can't give you a, well, this is exactly what you have to spend, because it just depends so much on the studio, the population of the area you're in, what you're offering, how long you're running your ad campaign for. What I can say is for most studios, it will be between £10 to £20 a day will be your budget for running your ad. And then at the moment, especially if they book through your website, through the Dance Business Solutions website, it's £497 for me to do all the setup. So that's creating your images, creating your copy, setting it up in Meta Ads Manager, sending you weekly data reports. I do all of that. And the nice thing about that is you can also be assured that I already do it for hundreds of other studios around the world. So I've got experience doing it for this industry in a way that very few other people do.
Yes.
So yeah.
And that's what makes it really key. And that's why I'm speaking to you and not one of the tens of thousands of other people that do a similar job. And, you know, being in the entrepreneurial world and having different business coaches in different countries over the last 9 years, you know, I know a lot of people now. I've met lots of people that do the same as you. But just like in my world, people say, oh, you're a business coach. I say, oh, yes, but I'm a business coach in a very specific niche. And then that instantly disqualifies most people out there and massively makes me appealing to the dance industry. And it's the same for you, isn't it? Like, we're having this conversation about social media because of your background and your knowledge, because you've niched into this area. So that's interesting. That's some interesting facts and figures. And I think one of the key things I'd like to pull out of that you just said is actually not looking at, oh, do you know what? I spent £800 on Facebook ads and, you know, I only got 5 new students. I'm like, great. That's a great return. Like,
Brilliant.
How long are those students going to stay with you? Like, really seriously work that out, because, okay, they could leave after 2 weeks, but equally they could be with you for the next 15. And so kind of one thing that is worth looking at, and you can do this officially and correctly, but for most people, it just needs to be a guesstimate. Like, how long do you think people stay on average? You know, it's a question for you guys that are listening to really think to yourself, you know, do most of my students stay 2 years? Do most of them stay 5? Like, do most of them start and then never stop? Like, be really honest with yourselves and ask yourselves, what is my customer lifetime value? How long do they stay? How long do they stay? Now, most people would say minimum 2 years, minimum 2 years. In which case, if they just come and do one class a week, that's probably £500 they're going to spend there. Are you going to spend £500 getting one lead on social media? Hopefully not. Hopefully you're going to get more for your £500. So actually, 5 people, new people, out of an £800 spend may feel like a really poor return, but actually in the bigger picture, that's a really good return.
And as someone who looks after ads, I wouldn't let you spend £800 if you'd only got 5 leads. I would have stopped it much earlier and said, we need to do something to sort this out.
Good.
But there are 2 things there I just want to bring out. Customer lifetime value, really important to figure out. The other one is your customer acquisition cost. What does it cost you to get a new student? And if you can compare those and be very real with yourself about what does it cost you to get a student and how much what return do they bring you over the lifetime as a customer, you can start making different kind of decisions in terms of what you're investing in to your marketing and your sales to get new customers, right? But for me, if you can get your leads in under £20 a lead and your customers in under £40 a customer, then you're doing pretty well. And again, you may go, oh my God, that's a lot. But if you look at it, customer acquisition cost £40, customer lifetime value £1,000, like that's actually pretty good.
100%. And if you said, oh, it cost me £40, that's what? If they do one class a week, 2 months, like
Right.
they stay more than 2 months, you're already in profit then after that, aren't you? And I spoke
That's
to one of my studio owners very recently, and she had one of her teachers do some ads for her. And she was saying, oh, we ran some ads, and I think they went quite well, but we've turned them off now. And I was like, okay, how did they go? And she said, well, we got about 18 inquiries. I said, all right. And how much did you spend? And she said, oh, about 80, £84, £85. And I was like, you spent £85 and you got 18 inquiries and you've turned them off. And she's like, oh yeah,
why.
it was starting to cost a lot of money. And I was like, I'd pay easily £84 to get 18 inquiries. Like, because I don't know, if we were to be really conservative, 18 inquiries, maybe if we're being really, really negative, maybe only 50%. So maybe only 9 reply to your email. Out of those 9, maybe only 6 book a trial, and maybe only 4 sign up. Let's be like, if we're being really negative, 4 out of 18.
Yeah.
We've just spoken about 4 new students and it only cost you £89. Like, I'm like, turn them back on.
Yeah, immediately.
Why did you turn them off? It's like, oh, it's a lot of money to keep spending on. And it is that mindset, Sally, isn't it? I think people
Yes.
aren't educated. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, because I was the
No.
studio owner too a few years ago.
Same.
But just
Yeah.
don't really look at it, the bigger picture, looking at the numbers and the stats. And actually, is it that bad if it costs you £40 to get a student in the door? Like I say, that's only 2 months, and then everything after that is all new
Profit.
money for you.
Yeah.
So I guess the difficult thing is really, like, for our studio owners, looking at this as a necessary expense.
Yes. And when you're setting up your budget, which I hope all studio owners are doing, but when you're setting up your budget in advance, you really want 30% of your budget to be marketing. So 30%, I would say 30 to 40% should be allocated to marketing and advertising, because nothing else you do will have a bigger impact on growing your business than marketing and advertising. Second to that will be retention, obviously. But in terms of getting more students in the door, you can't beat great marketing and advertising. So yeah, that's what I would say, 30 to 40% of budget.
Yeah. And I mean, that brings me on to a little bit of a topic, which is such a hard one. In fact, I did a post in my free group, Dance Business Lab community, recently about the chicken and the egg, because it's so hard for people that are really, really struggling financially. I spoke to somebody yesterday who's not even breaking even at the moment. Her partner's wage is bailing out the dance school weekly, monthly. And so it's so difficult when you're hearing people say, you need to spend money on a business coach, you need to spend money on your marketing. When there is no money, not a penny to put towards it. So then I guess that's where I push people to organic marketing, where people can try, and I have a whole training in my members vault on, a whole 60-minute training on how to market your school with a 0 budget. So the good news is there are things people can do, aren't there, Sally? And we were restricting this to social media more today, our discussion. So what does organic social media marketing look like?
Yeah, so in terms of the types of posts and content you put out, I tend to say there are kind of 3 types. There's top of funnel content, which is just reaching as many new people as possible. And right now, the best bang for buck in terms of what is reaching the most non-followers on your social platforms is Reels and video. Reels, videos, and live videos. Those are the best ways to reach non-followers. Second to that, more and more people are using social platforms the way they traditionally used Google. So making sure that everything is search optimized. What I mean by that is, what would someone type into Google to find you? Mostly it's going to be dance classes and your location. So making sure those 3 words are in all of your captions, all your social media profiles and bios, making sure you're tagging your location, making sure you're geotagging your location in your posts, just doing everything you can to optimize for search is the second thing. And then the third thing is making sure that you have that middle of funnel content, which is educating people on why you're the best choice. So that's reviews and testimonials, case studies, any awards you're winning, anywhere where you're out in the community, any partnerships you have with other businesses. And that's actually another really good free marketing hack, is partnering with other businesses who have the same audience as you, whether that's a library or a toy shop or a cafe or a gym or anything like that. That's the other place to do that. And then, of course, you have your promotional content, which is your sales content online. But for the most part, if you have those other things set up properly, people will come to you before you even promote, because you're reaching them and letting them know about you. You're showing them why you're the best choice, and you're making sure that you're as visible as possible on social media. So doing that gives you the best chance for people to find you over any of your competitors. And when I say competitors, I don't just mean other dance businesses. I mean anyone who provides children's activities. If you can beat them, then you're already ahead. And it's the best way to do it, is reaching non-followers, making sure you're searchable, and then letting people know why you're the best choice.
That's so cool, because and that doesn't cost a penny, right? That's
Great. Time is what it costs you,
oh
right?
yes, of course. And that's worth a lot. But for those people that are trying to work out how on earth they grow their studio without having any budget, there's some fabulous tips just right there.
Yeah.
So something I get asked a lot, and something I see a lot, and something I struggle with too, is our business page that is like the Wild West. It's like ghost town, Wild West, with tumbleweed rolling through it, because we're posting and posting and putting the little bit of time we have into creating content for our social media, and then there's nobody seeing it, nobody's following it, liking it, sharing it, and we look at our stats and we're like, what is it even worth? Is it even worth me doing it? Like, how can we improve that, Sally?
Yeah, so that's what we call our engagement, right? Is anyone liking our posts, commenting on our posts, sharing our posts, or saving our posts? That's the top 4 of engagement. And there's a couple of things that we need to do here. So the number one way to get more engagement is to engage. And that is engaging with our followers. But more importantly, and this is the big hack, it especially works on Instagram, but it works well on Instagram and Facebook. It's finding other profiles in our niche that are already very active and engaging with them. And what will happen is they'll engage with you, but their followers will also see your comments and they'll start engaging with you. And the more that people engage with you, they may not be your ideal customer straight away, but the more that people engage with you, the more that the platform and the algorithm says that your content is popular and important, and the more it will show it. So that's the number one rule. If you want engagement, you have to engage.
Yeah.
The number 2 thing that I say is, anytime you have photos with your clients or your customers in them, tag them, because it prompts them to comment or share or like. But for a lot of people, it will also show up on their feed straight away. And so their friends will see it. So that's kind of the number 2, the big impactor on making sure that you are increasing your engagement. The third one is the comment to freebie. So if you've got some sort of free thing that you think your ideal customers would find valuable, is you ask them to comment to get that free thing. And that does 2 things. It increases your engagement because people are commenting, but also you can then send them to a landing page where they fill in their details to get the free thing, and then you're getting leads organically as well. So that's kind of my 3 top hacks to remove the tumbleweed and start getting people walking and driving through your ghost town.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just a little bit gutted, Sally, because I thought we were best friends, because you comment on every single post. Every single post that I put on Instagram and Facebook,
Yeah,
you're there
there's a reason.
commenting away. And I just thought you really liked me, Sally.
I do. There's also strategy involved.
Of course, and I'm just pulling your leg. And and the thing is, and I say this to other people, listeners, it's probably not even Sally that's liking and commenting. It's probably someone that works for Sally. And I'm not saying it is, and if it is, it doesn't matter. But it doesn't even have to be you that has to be this involved. You can have somebody, can't you, that does this on your behalf.
Exactly. If you have a part-time admin person or even a senior student that you trust, because the other thing is, when they engage, you don't want them to put comments like, love this or great idea. It has to be a valuable comment, so that you're starting a conversation. So you just need someone who you trust to be putting quality, valuable comments. And I absolutely hire someone else to do this for me because it's one of those things that I don't need to be doing myself every day. I do it a bit myself too, but it's just one of those things that you can outsource. Like if you have someone in your team or your family or your friend group even who could help you do it, outsource this. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Sally, this has just been jam-packed full of great stuff. I'm sure people have been driving their cars, wishing that they could pull over and write all this stuff down. So if you are driving your car, you need to have another listen, go back and listen again. And if you've loved it, let's drop a review. Like, let me know what you think of the podcast. I'm really bad at asking people to do that. I was great when I first launched the podcast. I don't think we've had a review for like a year because I never ask anyone to do it. So if you've loved today's podcast episode with Sally, and I'm sure you have, and you've got some great value, please do go and drop us a little review. That would be amazing. But also go find Sally. So we're going to put your links in the show notes so people can come and find you. As I said, Sally has packages that you can purchase. Just Google dancebusinesssolutions.com, click on social media, and there she is. You'll see her lovely face pop up. There's some great different packages, actually, different levels of investment. But 100%, if you can, if you're going down the paid route, get somebody like Sally to do this for you, because yes, there's an additional cost with all the setup, but by golly, you're going to get that back by getting better results. And Sally, we can't wait to have you in the UK with us in August. How exciting.
I'm so excited.
Have you been to the UK before?
Just once, many, many years ago. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's a long way. So I'm coming for a couple of weeks just to have a look around and do a few things. So that'll be nice. But yeah, I'm really looking.
Yeah, I was just going to say, are you coming? Where else are you going to go whilst you're here? I guess you're going to go to London, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually going to Canada first because a mastermind that I'm part of is having a meetup there. So I'm going there, then coming across to London, thinking about doing a day trip to Paris, and then, yeah, coming across to Birmingham. So
fantastic. Oh my gosh, you jet setter you. Whilst her business runs beautifully without her necessarily being in it all the time. And that's a topic for another podcast.
Yes.
Oh, Sally, it's been so amazing. I have to quickly fire my quick fire questions that I always do at the end of my podcast. So are you ready with the first thing that comes into your head?
Okay.
Okay. Favorite fruit?
Apples.
Favorite movie?
Oh, favorite movie. This is such a good question. Do you know what popped into my head straight away? Gladiator.
Well, there you go then. That's the one.
Must be
it. What do you think of Gladiator 2?
Not as good as Gladiator 1.
Not as good, but actually I still quite enjoyed it. Favorite business book?
Favorite business book? It is, it's escaped my mind. Hang on one sec. It's just on my shelf.
She's gone to get it.
Radical Candor. I just finished reading it again. It's one I've read many, many times, but Radical Candor is my favorite.
Oh, I have to go and check that. I haven't heard that one. And if you could tell younger Sally something that would be really helpful in her future life, what would you tell her?
Don't listen to anyone who gives you advice who doesn't pay your bills.
Ah, okay. I'm going to go away and process that one, I think. Try not to listen to anyone that gives you advice that doesn't pay your bills. That's a really good one. Yeah.
Because, everyone loves to give you advice, but if they don't pay your bills,
doesn't necessarily have the right outcome for you.
No.
I love that. I think we're just going to leave that one there with everyone to go and think
Perfect.
about. It's been so lovely, Sally. Thank you for giving up your time. I know it's late there for you in Australia. Some beautiful value in today's session. And everyone go find Sally. And good luck, everybody, with your Facebook ads.
Amazing. I will see you all soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sally. Bye.
Bye.
So I wanted to tell you that this episode is kindly sponsored by Sally at Dance Studio Marketing, who is your go-to solution for growing your dance school through the power of social media. So if you're feeling overwhelmed at trying to attract new students, At Dance Studio Marketing, Sally helps dance studio owners just like you to leverage the power of social media and paid ads to bring in a steady stream of students, which of course helps you to achieve more balance in your life. So if you're ready to grow with less stress, visit sallyprendergast.com, or you can connect with Sally at Dance Studio Marketing on your favorite social media platform today. My clients are getting fabulous results using Sally. So let's get those ads going and let's get your school growing.